Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the last edition of the month of November. It is the last day of November, 2025. It's a dreary day where I am. We've started having some rain, and we're supposed to have a rain for a couple of days here in West Central Georgia. And Marty, how's it going up north up there?
It's nasty weather up there. Cold, foggy, wet. It's going to be a nasty week up here, but in our hearts, it's sunny. Everything's good.
I hear you, man. That's the way to look at it. Well, you know, I have had a busy Thanksgiving week. We are just a couple of days post Thanksgiving, and Marty, I hope you and your family had a great one. I know I did. Got to see all the family, and I had a busy week. I had. On Thursday, on Thanksgiving Day, I wrapped up my first season as the color commentator on Alabama State University football radio with my friend Graham Dunn in Montgomery. And we had the Turkey Day Classic, the 101st edition of the Turkey Day Classic between Alabama State and Tuskegee. And got that game done. And then Friday night, I did a high school playoff game here in Georgia. Carver of Columbus was victorious over Thompson, and they have moved on to the semifinals this coming week. Congratulations to them. And former Georgia Bulldog and former NFL player Jarvis Jones, in his first season as the head coach of the Carver Tigers, has them in the semifinals. And then yesterday, of course, I went to the Iron Bowl last night in Auburn, and it ended disappointingly for me, but it was a heck of a football game and an unbelievable atmosphere inside Durden Stadium. And we are welcoming today our guest, Chance Allshouse. And Marty, you know Chance a little better. Tell us a little bit about Chance and where you know Chance from, and then we're going to let him talk a little bit.
Well, you know, we talk about relationships every week, right? And I was really proud that Coach Durden hit that last week. Chance had another Coach Durden in here. But relationships is the key in our business. And Chance, we're just honored to have you. And honestly, Chance is one of those kids, not a kid, one of those guys. When I knew him, he was a kid, let's say that, who just gets a piece of your heart. And there's like a special memory tucked away for a person that crosses your path. And they make you better. And it seems like they exemplify what you say and makes you believe that what you're saying is right. And so that's the spot you hold in my life, Chance. And I appreciate it, man. You've lived out what you believe in. And in the day, Chance was fast as lightning, Coach. He could outrun anybody in our conference.
Not so much anymore, but you know.
Well, that's one guy got you every now and then, but he didn't get you every time, right? But anyway, Chance, we're just so proud to have you here, man. Thanks so much.
No, I'm happy to be here. I appreciate the kind words and your mentorship over the years. You know, when I forgot how old I was, 13 years old when I jumped into Presbyterian school, middle school, and met Coach Durden for the first time, and just that mentorship and guidance that I needed as a young growing child who eventually became an adult. And you've been so kind and generous in keeping up with me over the years, and I've been so blessed to keep up this relationship. So definitely happy to be here and speak to both of you today.
Well, I'm sure proud you're here, and I'm glad that you're in God's country, you know, in Georgia.
Yeah, it's been great. 50 great days in Statesboro. You know, I just just got back from Thanksgiving. I went down to Houston, Texas to see the family, and I'm back in Statesboro, and it's going to be a little chilly one this week. So definitely happy to be back and enjoyed my time so far.
And Chance, in August, we're infested with these little black bugs called gnats.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, you'll get that in August. Oh, they're a plague. I'm telling you right now. Mike and I grew up with that, and so we're kind of used to it. But what a nuisance the gnats are.
I feel like they're out and about right now a little bit. I felt a little bit since I've gotten here. Definitely don't have them in Houston, just mosquitoes. So it's been a unique feeling for sure.
Yeah, you're over in the part of the state where not only do you have the regular gnats, but you also have the sand gnats that bite a little bit. So, those are not fun, but they're a pest. They're a plague, but most people keep them under control. You'll get all kinds of ideas on how to keep them under control when it starts to get warmer weather again. But Chance, you are at Georgia Southern University now, and we're going to give you a chance to talk about what you do. But first, we want to hear your story. We just heard a little bit of it. You went to Presbyterian school in Houston when Marty was there, and tell us about your background coming up, and then how you got to be into the field of athletics that you're in now, and what you do at Georgia Southern. Just kind of lead us through that.
Absolutely, yeah. So born and raised in Houston, Texas. My dad was born in Pennsylvania. My mom was born in Dallas, Texas, and they met at Randolph Air Force Base in San Antonio, and eventually made it down to Houston where they had me. I'm a triplet. I have two sisters. My sister Channing, Chandler, Chance. My mom's name's Cynthia. My dad ruined it at Bucky. He was one letter off. But yeah, had me there. Grew up in Houston. Went to Presbyterian school with Coach Durden, where I met him at the age of 13. Eventually went to Kincaid High School in Houston, Texas as well, where I ran track and field and really discovered my love for athletics and being a student athlete. Hadn't really participated in athletics early on, but after being with Coach Durden and experiencing that for the first time, I kept up with it and did that in high school, where fortunately I was lucky enough to continue that at the collegiate level at Rice University. I ran track and field there while my event was a decathlon and the heptathlon. So I did that, enrolled in 2018, graduated in 2022. And I think during that time, I really got to see what the student athlete experience was like, especially at Rice University. Seeing a best-in-class institution with the student and the student athlete part really coming together. A student pursuing their best in academics while also competing very hard on the track and on the course and field. So after I got done with Rice in 2022 and backtrack for a little bit, my dad, Bucky Allshouse, graduated from Rice University in 1971. So played football there. So growing up, I was always on a university, going to athletic events, around institutional events, and just partaking in a college atmosphere, if you will. So when I graduated in 2022, I knew I wanted to stick around, one, working on a college campus, but two, being a part of college athletics. Seeing my father go through that, and then myself being a track and field athlete, I knew I wanted to stay there. So I ended up joining the athletic department at Rice as a director of development, so helping to oversee the fundraising efforts for Rice Athletics. I did that on the annual side for a couple of years, and then moved to director of major gifts, so focusing on those higher end major gifts at Rice. And then recently transitioned over to Georgia Southern. So now I'm the associate athletic director for development here at Georgia Southern in Statesboro, focusing on the same thing, fundraising at a high level for our student athletes. So
that's outstanding. And it's in the, that area of athletics. It's always been there, and it's always been very important, no matter what size school it is. It could be a very small private Division III. It could be your Division II schools. It can be your Division Is, whether they're small or very large. But annual giving and the development office is an integral part of all athletic departments, because without that, quite frankly, some athletic departments would not be able to survive financially without the generosity of donors who give to that program. And then, of course, others would not be where they are today without that aspect of it. And your job is to go and cultivate those relationships. We've mentioned the word relationships already, but relationships are huge in your field of endeavor, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my main objective is to engage, build relationships with our supporters and alumni to generate revenue and fundraise for our student athletes while ultimately uplifting the institutional goals and values here at Georgia Southern. So I think it's a super rewarding job. I'm super humbled and blessed to be in it. Not going in a long tangent here, but you're right. The annual fund, the development department of an athletic department is the lifeline of what we're trying to do and accomplish here. So it's definitely incredibly important, and it's been fun to be a part of, especially here the past 50 days.
And you guys are in the Sun Belt now, and that's stiff competition. What a great league that is.
Yeah. Jumping into the Sun Belt in 2014. It's funny realizing how young of a program we are at this FBS level, but qualified bowl eligible yesterday, beating Marshall, Georgia Southern. So that's our 4th consecutive bowl. So that's a great feeling for us here in Statesboro. So it's definitely been good. We're definitely building off that and continuing to grow.
Well, we've watched Georgia Southern develop from the many years. I think I go back to the old stories of Irk Russell when he started the football program over at Georgia Southern, and the great stories and the great tradition they had as a 1AA school and through the FCS competition and all of the accolades that they got, and now they've moved into FBS and they're having continued success again. Like you said, 4 straight years bowl eligible, and it's a fun town, and it's a college choice for a lot of people, and it's fun to watch the athletic programs over there grow like they have.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think coming into Georgia and Statesboro and learning more about Irk Russell and what he meant for this community and university has been really fun to be a part of. And all the traditions that he has. I mean, beautiful Eagle Creek. We have that statue of Irk Russell that we headbutt before every game. So, I mean, there's a lot of traditions that came along with Irk. And at the same time, he really laid the foundation for who we are here at Georgia Southern and the values and what we stand for. So it's been fun to learn and also see the passion of our supporters. I think being here in just 50 days, I've seen that passion, and it's infectious. I think with going into a deeper level, our president of the university, Dr. Kyle Marrero, with his leadership, and Chris Davis, our athletic director, his vision with the passion of our supporters. I mean, you just want to bottle that up and drink it. So I think there's definitely something growing here, and it's really fun to be a part of in the early days.
And it's the football mecca over in that part of Georgia too. That just a lot of talent in the area. But more than that, you just got people who love football and are going to fill the seats. And it's just in Georgia. I guess your rivalry with the other school in Georgia, would it be Georgia State? Would that be the in-state rivalry you have, or am I wrong?
And we, our 2 rivals are Georgia State and Appalachian State. So great year this year. We beat them both. So I think that was a lot of fun being part of that in the early days. And then also in Paulson Stadium this year, having some record-breaking attendances. So as you mentioned, people definitely show up for our Eagles, and it's really fun to be a part of, especially our students. Our students really came out this year and continued to show out and support. So I think that's been really fun to be a part of, as well as getting some rivalry wins. And then announcing our Freedom 2, that new mascot we announced and unveiled the other day. Steve Hine does a phenomenal job getting those Eagles ready to go, and Freedom 2 should be ready to soar here hopefully in the next year.
I used to go to a Chance. There's an FCA camp over there in the summers. I think it's in July, if I recall right. And it's just, the university has always been so kind to allow FCA pretty much to have the entire campus that week. Use the gyms, playing fields, the eating facilities. It's just amazing how good they've been to FCA. And gee whiz, I bet there's 1,000, 1,500 kids every summer who go there. In fact, I may be there this summer. I've been to that probably 10 years, but I didn't go the last 3 years. I've missed it. Actually, I came to that camp from Texas, and now that I'm back in Georgia, I've only been one time. Crazy.
Yeah, and it's funny you talk about just the relationships. Coming to Georgia from Houston, one thing I've noticed here is just the genuine relationships that I've built in the early days of being here, and everyone has the best interests in my success. And I'm blessed to be part of such a great team here in the Georgia Southern Athletic Foundation. Terry Harvin, who is a Georgia Southern legend. He's been here since he was a football player, currently leads our development department. He does a great job. And then I'm blessed to work with phenomenal coworkers as well, who make my job fun to be in and be a part of. I think it's really rewarding when it's past 5 o'clock and still everyone's here. 6, 7, 8, 9 goes on, and everyone's still here, locked in, getting what they need to do, just doing it for the love of it. So I think that makes coming into work really fun.
And I think you guys lean in to technology on agri-technology a little bit over there. When I was growing up, the preferred college in Georgia for teachers was right there in Statesboro. In fact, I think it used to be called Georgia Teachers College.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then as the university's grown, they're into research now, some kind of agri-research, if I understand it right, on insects and insecticides and things like that. But don't you have 55 majors or something like that now?
Yeah, so I mean, as you mentioned, we became a university in 1990, being an educational school prior. So just we're still such a young school when it comes to where we were and where we were going, right? This year, 28,000 undergraduates, which is a record. So we're continuing to increase our student record. And if you come down to Statesboro, just the land that we have, the university is continuing to grow from a student body, but also physically. So it's exciting to be a part of. And like I said, the leadership from Dr. Marrero and our athletic director, Chris Davis, we're all on the same page. We all want what's best for our student athletes and students. Because at the end of the day, we can talk about college athletics and it changing, and the landscape will continue to change. That's inevitable. But just remembering that what it's about our students and our student athletes, the education that they get, and the values of our institution. So I think that, it's fun to be a part of.
And take us through kind of Chance, maybe in a development department, because this is a little bit different subject than we normally broach in our meetings here on the podcast. But you're coming at it from a different angle. We've talked to athletic directors and we've talked to coaches and we've talked to different people from different aspects. But I think you're maybe the first one who is from a development department that has been on with us. Kind of take us through your daily routine and what goes into a development department for an athletics department.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, our job here in development is to engage supporters and alums to generate revenue and support for our student athletes while uplifting the institutional values and goals. So on a regular basis, whether it's the annual fund or major gifts or even our ticketing department, it's how do we reach out to those people and get them in the stands, get them in our community, and continue to bring them along, right? So on my day-to-day basis, I'm focusing more on major gifts. So Georgia Southern, a major gift is $5,000 over 5 years, so $25,000 total. And right now, in this ever-changing landscape of college athletics, we're really prioritizing a couple buckets. Chris Davis, our athletic director, came out with the Eagle Victory Plan in July, which really simplifies what we're trying to do here. Just the different buckets of what you can give to, whether it's capital and facility projects or our competitive excellence fund, which is the unrestricted dollars, our coaches retention fund, if you will, to Eagle Nation fund, which is the NIL fund, our Irk Russell fund, which is our annual fund, and then our sports specific agency fund. So if you want to support football with their travels or our women's rifle team to help them get better equipment, you can do that through that fund. So I think we have these 5 buckets. And our job, whether it's the annual fund, the major gifts department, or ticketing, is to, one, bring those people into our community, get them in on an annual level. And then eventually, if the relationship continues, as we continue to talk about relationships, eventually get them in on a major gift and seeing where their passions and focuses lie, whether it's helping us from a facility standpoint, increasing our capital projects in that bucket, or NIL, or if they want to support on an annual level for scholarships and education in the Irk Russell Fund. So we have these buckets. We have our different departments, annual fund, major gifts, and ticketing, and it's all really just one funnel, right? I mean, I can go on this huge tangent, but just think of this funnel. You talk about the ticketing, that ticketing department being at the top of that funnel. You engage those people, getting them into our basketball games or our football games and bringing them into our community. And then you have that annual fund. Those officers will reach out to them and see on a year-to-year basis whether they want to give and what those passions are, whether it's to support our student athletes or to give to a facility or to help our NIL efforts. And then as they continue down that funnel, it's about really committing long-term to a major gift, and whether you want to support on a higher level, and just going down that level of support is how I think about it in my head. So I think from a day-to-day basis, like I said, it's prospecting, finding prospects, engaging those supporters and educating them. Like I discussed, I think the college landscape is going to continue to change, and that's inevitable, right? But as a staff, we want to be able to be proactive, want to continue to communicate and educate our alums, fans, and supporters, while also not losing our identity of who we are here at Georgia Southern, and keeping the students and the student athletes at the focus of that, right? So without going on a huge rant, that's a little bit about what I do. I have a lot of fun doing it, but it's great.
So it's just basically relationship building.
It's absolutely, it's relationship building. At the end of the day, it's relationship building. You're telling a story. You're grabbing people. Some people are in the community. Some people might have graduated 20 years ago and haven't been engaged. And part of my job is to engage those people by building relationships. So I think it's a lot of fun, really, really seeing what you can do and being a part of a community.
Remember when we had, when you were in the 8th grade, I think, and you were in a servant leadership class. Remember that?
Yeah.
Class? We talked about the power of relationships, and here we are. We're still talking about that because that's human relationships are the biggest thing in our lives. You know, how we make each other better and how we interact with each other, build trust. So you're just right in the crucible of that now, Chance, and you're practicing what it's all about. You know, every day, building relationships, getting people to trust you, and being honest and authentic with them. I think it's great. They certainly have the right guy in that position. And now let me ask you this, just for the sake of our audience, explain to us just in a nutshell how NIL has changed and how people can actually contribute to NIL and how that works now. Because I think the average fan hears about it a lot, but really don't understand exactly what it is.
Yeah, so NIL, I mean, you can now, I don't want to say you can now pay the players, but basically before it was in-house, so now it's in-house, it's in the university where you can make a donation to the university that's tax deductible, that will go into this pot that you can then use to give money to the players. Before that, it was a third-party collective. It was outside the institution, not a part of the university. And what you're going to see in this ever-changing landscape of college athletics is just continuous change about what we can and cannot do. So initially, that was outside the university, not attached. It was just a third-party collective. And in the past year, it's come in-house. Now it's a part of the development office where people can donate money, and the university can pay the players, if you will. So it's a tax-deductible gift. I think a university I think the limit's about 20 million. So you can divvy out 20 million per year across all your sports to certain players. I think they're continuing to refine what the transfer portal looks like. So we've moved into that one portal window in December, just end of December, January for football. So I think it's continuing to change. And I'm still continuing to learn about it. I think, as I mentioned, communication and keeping our supporters and donors and even the staff in here educated on what the landscape looks like, and making sure we're all on the same page is super important.
I know you guys are all over this. Do you anticipate, we keep just looking at the news and hearing all kinds of things. Do you think that NIL will change any further? Do you sort of anticipate changes? I know that now that the collectives were all gone, that was a worry that everyone had, how that money's being accounted for. And so now it's all in-house, as you said. Do you think that will change even more, or do you sort of think it's going to keep going, building like it's in the direction it's going now?
Yeah, I think it's hard to tell. I think there's going to be continuous change here in the future, and I think as I talked about being proactive and understanding what the now looks like and then what the future looks like is super important. But I think it'll definitely continue to change ever so slightly here in the next couple years as we try to figure out what works and what doesn't and find that happy medium of allowing the players to do what they want to do in the university and finding what works best for everyone. So
These last 4 years have been crazy, haven't they?
no, absolutely.
The biggest period of transition in the history of the NCAA, with broadcast rights deals, the introduction of NIL, with Title IX challenges all over the map everywhere. It's just been a lot going on. You picked a great time to get right in the middle of that, buddy.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I could sit here and act like I know everything, but at the end of the day, I'm still a growing adult who has a lot to learn. I graduated from Rice in 2022, and it's really cool to sit here and talk to you guys and learn from you. But I'm definitely continuing to learn and grow, as I'm in my very, very young career here. So it's a very humbling position to be in.
And Chance, just something I was sitting here thinking about. We've mentioned relationships, and your whole job kind of revolves around relationships. But let's go a little bit a different route with the relationship angle. How important are the coaches, especially the head coaches of your sports at Georgia Southern, or really anywhere you might be working? How important are they in the process of development in an athletic department and getting them to, number one, have relationships, but number two, say the right things and do the right things to help you guys further what you're trying to do and your goals with an annual fund or an NIL fund or whatever the case may be?
Yeah, I think it's super important to have coaches who are willing to lock arms with us and help us do what we're trying to do here. And in the early days, whether it's Coach Helton for our football coach or our baseball coach or our rifles coach, everyone has been super easy to work with. Coach Helton, you can look it up online, but he'll go out and go to our fraternity and sorority houses and interact with those students, getting them out to the games. And he's always in this office trying to communicate with us, talking about what we can do and who we can engage. But I think for those coaches, reaching out to their former athletes, is super important. And specifically in the 50 days that I've been here, I've worked closely with baseball, and I've worked closely with Coach Rodney, reaching out to his former baseball players, getting them back in the fold and going to meetings with him, whether it's with supporters or alums, trying to spread the vision and allow him to get in front of people. So I think it's incredibly important, and they have to be approachable and willing to work with us. And everyone here at Georgia Southern has been just that.
That's good. I was at the Division II level for 16 years over here in Columbus. And we didn't really have a development department in the athletic department. All of us were, basically everybody on the staff was the development department. We had our clubs that you could join. That was one way of giving to a program. We had different ways that people could participate and give. But the biggest thing was alumni. We had, every coach tried to reach out to the alums of their program and get them involved in giving back a little bit. And of course, some alums go on to big things, and they have great jobs, and they have the income that they can give generously. And then others, not so much. And it's important but it's as important to maintain a relationship as with those who maybe don't have as much disposable income as it is with those who have a lot. And because a lot of times the real money that you get in the program comes in the volume that you get from smaller donations. Is that still the case?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think especially here at Georgia Southern, becoming just a university in 1990, we have a young alumni base who are really entering their careers and continuing to have different trajectory paths, and continuing to engage them getting them in at the lower levels, whether it's $100 or $60, which is our base level with the Irk Russell Fund, and continuing to engage them on an annual level where that first donation is $60 to $100 to $200 to eventually they're making 1,000, 5,000, whatever. So it's incredibly important. You're absolutely right. And then also engaging our parents of our current student athletes. While their students are here, they're on scholarship and they're just as invested as the students. So keeping them involved as well is incredibly important. And also keeping our current student athletes involved and educating them on the importance of what we do here. So when they're graduating and in their careers, they'll want to give back to the institution as well. So I think you're right. That's all super important. And it's really important for us to continue to increase the volume and the donor support that we have on our annual level, because that is the foundation for what we're trying to do here at Georgia Southern.
Tell me this, Chance, what, on an average day, what is it that you like the most about, me, it's all about people. It's always been about being around people. In my profession, I love the kids, I love the parents. I'm a people motivated person. What is the best part of your job? Is that it, or is it?
Yeah, I think for me, it's two things. One, it's the people part, like you said, building those relationships and hearing people's stories and convincing them or helping them or engaging them to continue to want to be involved with Georgia Southern. But I also think it's the research part, which might be a surprise, but we have a CRM database system that basically holds kind of donor information, alum information. It's like I went to Rice University and I graduated in 2022. At Rice, there's a CRM system that has that information in there. And I really enjoy just digging through all that and finding former letter winners or constituents that either were involved or not involved or who maybe had the potential to give a little more than what they were currently giving. And looking at their career path and seeing what they could give now and in the future and prospecting and predicting and all that. So as much as building relationships is a lot of fun, it's also researching, finding those constituents and planning. Because I think if you have that base, you find those people, it's really easy to build those relationships. But you got to have those people to go after. So that's super fun. And I will come in. I tell people I don't really have a life much outside of what I'm doing here, right? I'll come in early. I'll spend most of the day researching and reaching out to people. I'll stay here late. I'll dream about it, and then I'll come back in. And that's exactly how I was at Rice. And I just love what I do, and that's why I continue to do it, right? So yeah, those are two things that I love about my job and why I do it. But I mean, I go back and, I coming from Houston, Texas, and taking this leap of faith, if you will. I had never lived anywhere else but Houston, Texas until 50 days ago when I jumped over to Statesboro to be here at Georgia Southern. My family's from Texas. I never thought I'd leave Houston or Texas, but took that leap of faith to continue what I do and what I love to do, and truly blessed to be here. But I still think about that every day, how I just jumped and I'm here and I'm talking to you guys today. So it's truly an exciting time. Truly.
Chance, it's amazing how the things you just said, and I'm just sitting here thinking that is so cool what you just said. How you look at all the backgrounds and the database of all these people, and you'll start seeing how they interconnect with people that you already know. And there'll be people crossing your paths that you never, and you
Absolutely.
I didn't get that.
Yeah, especially here in Statesboro. I mean, not only engaging the alums and the supporters, but also the community here in Statesboro. And as it continues to grow, identifying the companies and the people that are here that want to invest into our university, because Georgia Southern University is a huge part of what we do here in Statesboro. And that's one thing I love about it. You go everywhere. You'll see our flag. You'll see our logo. People are proud to be a part of this community and be an Eagle. So I think that's been a lot of fun to see, in the volume we have. I mean, we have so many undergraduates and alums, so it definitely keeps you busy looking and analyzing, and you want to know everything. I mean, part of my job is knowing everything and everyone. When my boss, Terry Harvin, comes into my room and he asks me about a constituent or donor or anything, I want to have that answer right away. So I think preparing to be the best version of myself in this job to to support my teammates here in the office, but also going out and engaging our alums and supporters with the ultimate goal. I bring it back to our student athletes and students. I mean, that's why we're here. That's why we're doing it. It's for them and the true student athlete experience. So I think it's a satisfying place to be in, and truly blessed.
It's a small world, isn't it? You just find when you get to know, the more people you get to know and the larger your network grows, it's amazing how you find out how many paths cross and how small the world really is.
It's all relationship based. I mean, we talk about coming from Rice to Georgia Southern. Ryan Hall, who's our executive deputy AD and COO here at Georgia Southern, he was at Rice, and I worked with him. He's a phenomenal mentor of mine, but I worked with him for a couple years, and I stayed in touch. And when this opportunity came available, I reached out, and I would not have known about that unless I had that relationship with him. So you're 100% correct. In college athletics and just in general, no matter what you do in life, relationships is at the cornerstone of what you are and what you're trying to build and what you need. I mean, it's everywhere. So you're exactly correct.
Let me ask you this, Chance. You know, sometimes development offices and you know, gift giving and things like that, you get known as the guy who's always got his hand out. And sometimes that's, you know, oh no, here he comes again. What do you need this time? Have you encountered much of that in your short career yet? And sometimes it's all tongue in cheek, but sometimes people get a little bit, you know, can almost get annoyed because when you go back to them. And how do you handle those situations when people feel like you're already coming back to me again? I don't know if you've encountered that or not, but how do you handle that kind of situation?
Yeah, well, I think it depends on how you approach it. I mean, like we discussed, building a relationship with people and them understanding that it's not just about me asking for money, but it's about me getting to know them and then understanding why they're connected to this institution, that passion they have for this place, and then me helping them uplift their passions and help those passions become a reality and their dreams and their visions become a reality. And I think being in my position here, I can support that through what I do, and I can engage the right people to accomplish those things. So I think when you take it out of me asking for money and really helping make those dreams become a reality, the perspective changes, right? So for me, it's about that. But just like any fundraiser and development, I think there's a proper timeline. You don't just ask for money right away. I think that's tacky, but you really try to get to know the person and you understand why they're part of this community, why they want to give. And if they don't want to give, that's okay. I think part of our job is to continuing to engage those folks because the value of what people can give is different. It's not all about money, right? Whether it's coming in and coming to a game or mentoring our student athletes. I mean, just as important as giving money, you know, I bring it back to the students. Mentoring our student athletes is incredibly important. And our alums and donors coming back and speaking to our student athletes about what they're doing and the careers they had and where they're trying to go and giving them internship opportunities is just as important as giving money, right? So I think understanding what that alum or supporter wants to do and how they want to contribute, whether it's from a mentorship standpoint or philanthropic, is important, right? And then once you understand that, I think you can navigate the conversation and the situation. Mm-hmm. Or if they just want to come to a game, that's okay too, right? But mm-hmm. I think my job here is really just to be a bridge in engaging those supporters, capturing that passion and making their dreams a reality. And that's what's super fun. And we talk about the passion and community here in Statesboro. I mean, you want to get in the trenches. You want to fight for these people. You want to be a part of this community. And I feel a part of this community in the early days. You know, it's 50 great days, but I feel like I'm a part of this community and we have an exciting future ahead, but it's something that really makes you want to fight, get in the trenches with these people and support them. So
that sense of belonging and loyalty, that's the motor that drives the ship over there at anywhere, you know, in any sports program. Loyalty, being a part of something bigger than we are. That's what coaches try to get their players to believe, and you're doing that same thing. I think tapping into that is the way to convince people and persuade them and try to gain their hearts. I mean, that's the whole thing, is just get them to trust you enough to get their heart, and you're doing that, man. That's awesome. I think
Yeah, it's all about passion and understanding them. So I think it's been really fun. And passion is everywhere and it's contagious. It doesn't matter what it is, it exists. And being a part of that and grabbing that is a great part of my job.
that's the truth. You said it.
Absolutely. And well, let me ask you this, Chance. You mentioned you've only been in Statesboro 50 days, and
Yep.
it's your first time really venturing outside of Texas and outside of your home area. And you've mentioned a couple of times that you took a leap of faith. How big is it for a young man like you, and not just in the athletics side of things, in ventures with athletics, but for a young person such as yourself, who just got his degree a few years ago, and you're getting started in your work life? How big is faith in what you do? How big is faith? How big a part is faith in what you do, and being willing to go when a door opens somewhere where it might be unconventional? It might not be exactly where you thought you would be, but how big is faith? What kind of role does faith play in that with you?
Yeah, I think for me, it's growing, right? I when I went to Presbyterian school and went to that school, I think my faith really began. And over the years, it's had its moments where it's been in and out of my life, but I feel like it's more than ever in my life right now. So I think taking that leap of faith and understanding that there's a path that I am following. It's a bigger thing than just what I'm doing here, but there's a path that I'm following, and understanding that the good Lord has a path for me, and just being a good servant to him and what I'm trying to do, and just being a good person. I mean, at the end of the day, I think, we bring it back to relationships, but just being a good person, a good person to my family, to my friends, and just being better every day and just bettering myself. I think that's super important. And that faith part of my life is continuing to grow. And I'm fortunate. My dad is religious. I was born and raised in a religious household, so I think that's continuing to grow in my life, and I'm starting to see that importance more than ever. But I think, especially in the past month or two, I would have never thought I'd leave Houston, Texas, and I really took that leap of faith, and I do not regret it one bit. I do think one thing that I am learning, comparative to Texas, is just where I am geographically, and my coworkers will make fun of it. But if I'm in Statesboro right now, I thought Atlanta was 30 minutes away. So one thing that and it's not, it's 4 hours away. So one thing that I'm getting used to is scheduling meetings with our supporters. I had scheduled a meeting in Kennesaw thinking it was a 30-minute drive. And next thing you know, it's 4 hours away. Or Alabama. I think Alabama is just a right down the street. It's 6 hours away. And I'm waking up at 6 a.m. to make a 12 o'clock lunch meeting. So I think that's been, I've started, it's not Houston, Dallas to San Antonio to whatever. So I'm starting to realize where I am and building those roots here as well. But I truly feel like I'm a part of this community and this Georgia Southern family, and it's a lot of fun. And the athletic department has been very welcoming, but even the institution and all the people on the university side as well. I mean, we're all aligned, which is a buzzword, but we're all aligned and very much headed in the right direction, locked arms, doing it all together for our student athletes and students. So it's great.
That's awesome. I know God goes before us. When I went to Texas, that was a big leap of faith for me leaving Georgia. And I always believe that God goes before us and sort of prepares it. And then when we leave, I think God goes behind us and cleans up after us. So I felt that in every move I made, I always ask God, is this where I can? You use a word that really meant a lot to me a while ago, where I can serve. And that's just good to hear you say that, Chance, because I think that's what God wants us to do, where we can take the way He's made us, the talents He's given us, the way life has sculpted us and defined us. He puts us in a place where we can best use those tools that God's equipped us with. I just think you're, 24 years old now?
26.
26, wow. 26 years old, and you're already an administrator in a college. And that's a big step because not many guys are there. So you're poised to really make a difference. And I'm proud for you, and I know you will. and you've got the right priorities is why.
No, I'm humbled and blessed. And I like I said, I think continuing to learn and locking arms with my peers and speaking to people who have been here and done what I'm doing is super important. And being humble and realizing that I have a lot to learn, right? But also having a good mindset and jumping in is super important. So I'm truly blessed to be in this position.
Well, Coach, I think it's time to ask Chance the question.
Yeah,
we always ask every week.
Every guest we have, Chance, before we wrap up, we ask them one question. And you being relatively new, and you're still on an upward, an upward trend in your career as you go forward. But if you had, let's just say, a student athlete in the program at Georgia Southern, or more than one student athlete in the program at Georgia Southern, sees what you're doing, and they kind of like, what they're seeing as far as, hey, maybe this is something I could do as a career. Maybe this is something I could be involved in. Maybe I want to go the administration route in athletics. What are some pieces of advice that you would give those young folks as they're looking down the road at their future a little bit? What are some things that meant a lot to you, but also that you've been able to use that maybe you could pass on to somebody else as just some little nuggets of advice on climbing that ladder and getting started on that journey?
Yeah, I think a couple things, and I learned this in my sport management department classes at Rice. But one, getting on LinkedIn. I think being on LinkedIn is truly the space for college athletics and who we are. So I think getting on there and connecting with folks and building your network and pipeline is super important. I think having your resume and practicing your pitch is super important, and knowing who you are. I think also just reaching out to, whether you're a student at your institution, reaching out to your athletic department and seeing where you can fit in. I mean, when I was at Rice, I was a marketing intern as a sophomore, and I didn't know I wanted to do marketing. I didn't think it was for me, but I did it. I checked that off, and I eventually got to development, where I found my passion. So I think jumping in, whether it's in marketing or facilities or helping the football team or wherever, I think just getting in and building those relationships is super important. And I think just leaning on people and asking questions. I always tell people I love connecting and mentoring and guiding people. So I always say, whether it's on LinkedIn or my email or phone number, please call, text, ask me questions, because I love to be a part of that. And that's one thing that I've seen in the early days, whether it's someone from Colorado State or the University of Houston, or someone who works for the Sharks in the NHL. I think there's just this community of people in athletics that are just willing to help and mentor and guide each other, which I think is super fun and exciting to be a part of. But that's just some of the stuff that I've had. It's continuing to build your network and peers, right? And leaning on those people, and also being curious and willing to learn, willing to take those leaps of faith, and also willing to fail, because you don't learn unless you fail. So by doing that, you learn, and eventually you succeed. And the people who continue to fail are the ones who eventually succeed. So I think that's just some stuff that I've done, and I'm new and young and still learning, and that's what I would say.
Very good. Very good. Well, Marty, once again, we've come to the end of another episode, and we've had a tremendous guest on here tonight, a young man who everybody remember this guy's name, because he's early in his career now, but down the road somewhere, you're probably going to hear his name attached to a program that may be a mega school, that is getting the job done on a higher level. But right now, he's going to get the job done over in Statesboro, Georgia, and it sounds like he's doing a fantastic job over at Georgia Southern. Before we came on the air, I mentioned the guy that I know in the athletic communications department over there that you'll get to know as you're there longer, Chance, and that community of athletics, of college athletics, is special. No matter what aspect you're plugging into, whatever outlet you're plugging into, once you form relationships with all those people, usually those are pretty much lifelong, and you never forget each other, and you stay in touch with each other, and there's no telling how many more times your paths are going to cross as you go through the different levels and different roads that you take in your life. But One thing we can always say, and what we always say here as we close out a show, is when you have the opportunity, when that door opens, when God places something in front of you that has the opportunity for you to become involved, always be willing, as the title of our podcast says, always be willing to step up and make a difference, because you never know. Even if it's something small, it seems insignificant to you. As you do it, it could be something huge in somebody else's life. Just your willingness to be able to be ready and willing to step into that gap and to step up and make a difference. So anytime you have the opportunity, please, folks, be willing to step up and make a difference, and share this episode with everybody that you know. If you've got an aspiring youngster in your family that wants to work in athletics growing up, as they grow through their life, show them this episode. Let them listen to this episode, and always encourage them to form the right kind of relationships, and not be afraid to ask questions, because there's no dumb question. I've used to tell my students that all the time when I was teaching classes. Listen, there's not a dumb question. If you don't know, how do you find out? You ask. And people are willing to share, and people like Chance are willing to share with us. But Marty, have a great week. Stay warm. Chance, all the best to you as you go through the different seasons of development in athletics. I know how that works sometimes, and you've got different times of year where it's up and down, and it's here and there, but it's never not busy. So we wish you all the best as you continue to get growing at Georgia Southern, and we wish you all the best as you go forward. Marty?
Thank you for having me real quick. Thank you for having me, Coach. Good to see you again. I had a great time being on here. So,
absolutely. We appreciate it. Marty, close us out. What's a word of wisdom from you for the week?
I would say this to every spectator who watched our show tonight. This guy right here we just interviewed tonight, he's wise beyond his years. And remember the name Chance Allshouse, because you'll be hearing it again one day in the world of sport. Chance, I'm so proud of you, man. Thanks for coming on the show here. We really appreciate it, buddy.
Love being on it. Thank you. Thank you both. I really appreciated it. And thank you for the kind words.
You're very welcome.
Absolutely.
Merry Christmas to you guys.
Hey, absolutely. Have a great holiday season. We started Advent today, and today marks the official start of the Advent season, and the great meaning that Christmas has. So everybody pay attention. Don't get caught up in the hustle and bustle and the commercialization. Remember what the true meaning of Christmas is as we go into this season. But guys, we so appreciate the time again today. And folks, remember, share this podcast, contact us through our social media channels, give us ideas of things to talk about, give us suggestions, give us feedback, send us messages. Everybody likes encouragement. If you like what we're doing, let us know. And if you want to see us do more, let us know. We need to know that. We need that feedback. But for now, we're going to say goodbye, and we will see you again next week here on Step Up, Make a Difference, the podcast. Have a great week, everybody.
What's up, everyone? Thrift Behringer here with Masterwall CEO Steve Smithwick. They're one of our first sponsors. We didn't even know what sponsors were 4 years ago when I was doing this off my phone. Thank you so much, Steve, for your support of Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
Oh, it's something that was needed for so long in the Valley, and me with my history of being a coach and all. Love to support it. You do a great job with that. Even when you were doing it on your phone, it was great.
I appreciate it, man. And again, we wouldn't be able to cover the 50 different high schools and all the different sports without Masterwall and different businesses like yourself. But you're also a coach, and now an award-winning author. We have Believer, Bulldog, and Coach. You can get on Amazon right now. You were the winningest basketball coach in Calvary history. What was the mindset behind writing this book?
Well, it's, I kind of treated it as a ministry, and I treat our business as a ministry. Loved what I did as a coach, working with those young guys and trying to set an example and point them in the right direction, and kind of do the same thing with business. So, you got to build it with a lot of good people around you, the right support group. And once again, I call it a ministry because that's the way I see it.
You can get this award-winning book right now on Amazon, and it's going to tell the whole story of C. Smithwick from being an award-winning coach and a Hall of Famer and having the court named after him and then building this incredible business. I can't wait to dive into it, Coach.
Good. Hope you enjoy it. It's about never giving up. So that's what a coach needs to know. It's what an entrepreneur needs to know.
The name of it is Believer Bulldog Coach right now on Amazon. And thank you again to C. Smithwick and Maxwell for their support of Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
Thanks for having me.